The 1% don't actually make more money than you. They just manage it better. They follow a system to make sure profit consistently shows up in their bank account. And today in this video, I'm going to show you exactly what that system is so you can make sure more profit is staying in your bank account. So the first thing is the 1% don't use the pay yourself last formula. And that formula is revenue minus expenses equals profit. This sets up a business owner for failure. What the 1% do is they actually use the profit first formula and flip this around. Revenue minus profit equals expenses. So what does this look like in practice? Let's say we have Jimmy, the business owner. His business makes $250K in revenue for the year. He spends $210K, and at the end of the day, he only makes $40K himself. Now, if he were to flip this around and make $250K in revenue and first set aside $80K, then he figures out how to get the same result, deliver in the same quality in the same way, and run the business on just $170,000. This is how it works in the profit first system. We do this through a series of bank accounts. So the first account you have is the income account. All of your money gets deposited into one account. This is actually something I even translate into my personal finances so that the incoming money is not muddied or mixed up with the money that's being used for spending. Then on a set rhythm, you decide when to allocate this money to your other accounts. So the first account you allocate to is called profit. So money comes in and you determine what percentage every allocation period is going to go to this profit account. The next account that gets allocated to is called owner's compensation. This account ensures that you are getting paid consistently the salary that you should be getting paid as the owner and usually operator of the business. The next account that gets allocated to is a tax account. So we are prepared when tax season comes or when that quarterly payment comes up. The last account to get allocated to is the operating expense account, or what we call OPEX. This is where purchasing decisions are made. This is where payroll comes from. This is where you pay your vendors. This is where you decide what can the business actually afford to spend. If this is hitting home and you're realizing that your business makes good money, but it never seems to stick, it's time to change that. My team and I help business owners build the system within their business with their unique circumstances so that these accounts are building every single month. If you want to see how this could look in your business, book a free profit assessment below. The next thing that the 1% do is they know the key important numbers that need to be focused on to actually build their wealth and move the needle forward in their businesses. All right, so how do you know what percentages to put in these accounts? Well, first you have to find out where you stand, right? What is the current situation? And then there are ideal percentages per your revenue range. This is actually something we go over on our free profit assessment calls, so make sure you book yours today down below. As you can see in this very, very simple example, we break down what the current situation is. This shows this person's current percentages. Let's say this is Jimmy. So Jimmy's taking home 24% and expenses are 76%. And then next to that are the ideal percentages. So we would rather see Jimmy putting 10% into profit, taking home 35% instead of 24%. Most people need to be setting aside 15% for taxes, depending on if you have state income tax or not, I have found. And then ideally at this revenue range, 40% in OPEX. If you are $1 million or above, we want to see OPEX at 65% and the rest distributed through those other three accounts of profit, owner's comp, and tax. This is the before and after of one of my clients who is a chiropractor. Now, what's really cool about this was we were not only working on profit together, we were working on growth at the same time. So we obviously grew the top line. She did 307 in a quarter instead of 167. But look at the difference in clarity with having these accounts. The other thing that the wealthy top 1% do is they make these systems automatic. There's no question, there's no hem and haw. They set aside those certain percentages. When we first started using this at Matterhorn, we got certified and then of course applied this to our own business. And we had a little bit of debt and startup costs. So I started setting aside 1% in our profit account regardless of what was going on. And even though we only had a few $100s at the end of our first quarter, I was then able to put that extra money towards debt. And I was like, whoa, this actually works. This isn't just a theory, but even 1% gives you those baby steps towards towards progress. The idea here is because if it is in your account and you are now responsible for setting that aside, it's probably not going to happen. You're going to find a reason to spend that money. This is due to Parkinson's law. Demand will rise to meet supply. This applies to money too. If you have $1,000 in your bank account, you're going to figure out a way to spend that $1,000. And this system of just making it an automatic habit is what is going to actually lead you to your financial goals. A really cool example of this is my dad was actually doing this back in the 80s and 90s with his dental practice. He really wanted a Corvette. Once he got his first Corvette, that was the only car he would drive. My entire life he had Corvettes. But to get that first Corvette, that was like a big goal of his, a big reward for himself for having his dental practice. He just started an account within the practice, and that was his Corvette fund. And he would put aside a certain percentage, and then after a certain amount of time, he said, hey, I have enough money to go get my Corvette now. And he finally was able to reach that goal. Most business owners work way too hard to wake up wondering, where did all of the money go? The truth is, once you have installed a profit system like this, your business can finally start paying you first. If you want to stop guessing and actually see profit in your account every single month, click the link below to book your free profit assessment now. We'll walk through your current system, find the profit leaks, and how exactly to plug them up. This is a free call, and you're going to walk away with more clarity and a plan of action. I'll see you in the next one.